Hello friends, welcome to my Princess Diana channel. Before moving on to the video, if you are not subscribed to my channel, do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so let's move on to the video. Sussex outing was justified. Harry and Meghan's complaints backfired as Charles removes their funding. Forgetful Prince Harry has overlooked the time when King Charles covered many of their expenses and instead decided to lament that the monarch didn't offer further support. Father of Harry, Prince Charles at the time, informed him there was insufficient funding for his marriage to Meghan Markle before their wedding. The timing of this conversation is uncertain. Reports suggest that King Charles paid for Meghan's costly wardrobe, including outfits worth thousands of pounds. Meghan's expensive shopping habits, particularly on clothing, strained King Charles's finances. Meghan's wedding dress and other pricey garments strained his financial resources. This might have been a factor prompting the king to distance himself from Meghan financially, a point Harry exploited when criticizing his father for financial neglect, although it only reveals part of the story. After the king revealed financial records demonstrating his financial support for Harry and Meghan following their resignation from royal duties, the public in the UK felt disheartened witnessing the royal family's lavish spending on clothing. This stark contrast to the struggles many face to make ends meet added to the public's frustration, particularly in light of Harry and Meghan's extravagant preferences that seem beyond comprehension. Notably, the excessive expenditures were viewed as excessive compared to Princess Catherine, whose attire and jewelry were accessible for public purchase. Despite being well into his late 30s, nearing 40, Harry complained about the lack of financial support when speaking alongside Meghan in the Oprah interview. However, he failed to acknowledge the substantial financial assistance deposited by the king into his account to aid their transition to a new life and home, in addition to future funds upon leaving the UK. Furthermore, there was no expression of gratitude towards Canada for covering security expenses during their brief visit. It is challenging to empathize with two adults lamenting the loss of financial backing upon their departure, especially when departing with significant wealth already secured. Their failure to disclose their earnings upon leaving and audaciously demanding more support, while questioning their father's decision, contrasts sharply with the reserved spending habits of the rest of the royal family, known for dressing in enduring, quality garments. The division between the old money class and the celebrity class is clearly evident in the behavior of Harry and Meghan. Both are constantly seeking handouts and freebies like clothes, security, plane rides, and hotels, making them seem like two undeserving individuals. Personally, I can't bear to see either of them. Despite receiving direct assistance from the king, they seem to take advantage of him. It appears that the king, likely feeling let down, decided to stop supporting them. Meghan spent exorbitant amounts of King Charles's money on expensive attire but still managed to look disheveled. Their funds were cut off by the palace, a situation Harry previously mentioned in the Oprah interview. Apparently, Charles had already stopped taking Harry's calls long before the Queen's passing. Harry then resorted to asking the Queen to intervene and persuade Charles to speak with him. When asked by the late Queen why he wasn't answering Harry's calls, Charles famously replied, "I am not a bank." It seems that Harry only contacts them when he needs money or bills paid. It's unrealistic for Harry and Meghan to expect King Charles to cover their expenses. Harry should be taking care of his wife's financial responsibilities as a married man. Meghan should not anticipate her father-in-law to foot her bills and shouldn't have the audacity to choose expensive clothes and jewelry when someone else is paying. Her accusations of racism against Charles and criticism of the family seem hypocritical. Given her opportunistic behavior, she anticipates the drop of blood. Struggling for survival against the tide, she foresees the family yielding to her demands, or facing consequences. How malevolent she is. And Harry simply acquiesced. It is rumored that she spent more on her wardrobe in a year than all other European royal ladies combined. They would appear grand, while Meghan consistently appeared dismally dressed. Princess Catherine frequents high-street clothing stores and consistently looks stunning in their ensembles. She effortlessly carries off elegant looks without the need to spend exorbitantly. She reserves designer items solely for royal engagements, often reusing them. King Charles is notoriously thrifty. He prefers his funds to be directed towards charities and other deserving causes rather than ending up in the grasping hands of his family members. King Charles once expressed discontent over the high cost of Diana's wardrobe, while considering her more important than Meghan, despite Meghan's much higher wardrobe expenses. This sheds light on the Sussex couple's financial challenges. In the aftermath of the financial controversy, Meghan and Harry went as far as accusing King Charles of racism through their spokesman Omid, although Harry has yet to publicly confront him on his statements. The duo's inclination towards seeing things in absolutes and trusting their narrative stands out. In a magazine interview, Meghan adamantly claimed she paid for her own gown, contrary to reports that suggest it was funded by the king. Notably, Charles footed the bill for her $75,000 engagement dress. Meghan's extravagant spending surpasses that of all other royals combined, even exceeding the late Queen. A YouTube video meticulously details the wardrobe expenses of all active European royal family members throughout a year, revealing Meghan's significantly higher expenditures despite not attending state affairs. It appears perplexing that such hefty sums are allocated to clothing, especially when there are children in need of essentials like food, clothing, and medical assistance. Meghan's styling choices, though occasionally classy in expensive attire, often come off as disheveled. A more cost-effective approach to fashion, guided by a skilled stylist, could potentially lead to savings, enhance her style acumen, and allow for charitable contributions towards supporting children in need. Meghan attempted to use it independently, but her efforts were unsuccessful. She was supposed to heed the stylist's advice, but Meghan was not inclined to follow anyone's guidance. She viewed herself as smarter and more knowledgeable than others. Meghan foolishly believed that Harry was financially self-sufficient, while Harry lacked the courage to correct her mistaken assumption. Jetting off to luxurious destinations in first class, Meghan had a habit of taking without giving back, much like her father. If your father refuses to speak with you over the phone because he suspects you'll ask for money, then evidently, you're living beyond your means. It's quite absurd for an adult, who loudly proclaims they will support themselves, to lament about their daddy cutting off their allowance. Watching Harry complain to Oprah like a child of 10 is truly astonishing. His need to justify his finances to Oprah is perplexing to me. He ought to recognize what a skilled opportunist his wife is. Picture yourself no longer slaving over the stove, simply ringing a bell. Elite designers clamor to dress you, and you adorn yourself with millions in royal jewels. However, the downside is having to curtsy and walk behind two other royals, which could lead you to become disgruntled and walk away. Upon marrying into the royal family, she seemed to anticipate primarily receiving financial support to sustain her lavish lifestyle. Meghan's comment, "I can't believe I'm not getting paid for this, just another lie," appeared disrespectful and misguided. However, Meghan staunchly refuted this accusation, claiming she never aspired to royal life but sought power and wealth. Despite donning expensive designer clothing, her fashion choices sometimes missed the mark, resembling a mediocre selection. It appeared that her focus was solely on Harry's financial resources. Both Harry and Meghan displayed entitled and immature behavior, seeking financial aid from Prince Charles post-Megxit, illustrating a poor mix of characteristics. Their reaction to being financially cut off was perceived as embarrassing, with Meghan attempting to manipulate the royal family's trust. Seemingly, Meghan's actions endangered the long-standing reputation of the royal institution, causing Harry's family to question their support for him. The impression left was one of disappointment, signifying a lack of fulfillment for Meghan, who appeared to relentlessly pursue wealth once given access to the royal coffers. The king was undoubtedly certain that she possessed more than enough money to confirm her obsession, but the funds were ultimately deemed wastefully spent. Meghan Markle's collection of clothing has largely remained out of public view, with estimates suggesting a cost of around £1 million to compile. The pressing question remains, where are all these extravagant outfits now? Perhaps she sold them for a profit, or possibly she simply promoted them for free without spending King Charles's money. This situation highlights potential mistreatment towards Charles. It is now time for Harry to mature and support himself and his wife like any responsible adult. Meghan appeared to indulge in luxury only when someone else footed the bill. When she purchased her own clothes, she opted for more affordable options. Additionally, many of her clothing choices did not flatter her figure or style and could be found at a much lower price. Her extravagant lifestyle extends beyond her wardrobe into her travel habits, where she spares no expense: personalized suites at luxury hotels, an extensive security detail, and private jet travel. That's it for our video, my friends. I hope you have liked it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like the video. If you haven't done so yet, if you want to be first to be informed about my content, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on notifications. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself and stay healthy. I'll see you in the next one.